guess what I'll do is I'll tell you a little bit about Triz. I was on Triz's last team. My brother played for him, my sister played for him, real close to the family. Sometime in between at the end of my junior year, he went to the dentist, had some problems. Is that right, Cross?
What's that now?
Triz went to the dentist.
Yeah, because he thought he had a toothache.
He had a toothache, and you know, he came back, and me as a student, I didn't have him in class, so he just kind of disappeared. We're like, where the heck is Triz? Basketball camp starts up, and Kraus is there, and Dana's there, but no, yep, Chapel was there, but no Triz. And Triz came in and into one of the camp sessions and told us that he had non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. That was kind of a shock to us because as 17-year-old kids, we never knew anybody with cancer before, especially somebody that was so close to us. And in reality, Triz has been coaching me in basketball since I was 10 years old. And that was the same for all of us. The next fall, Triz passed away right before the season. And that's when Coach Kraus got hired. Triz was always pushing us on a few areas that I'll just never forget. That whole thing I was telling you, talking about the machine that I learned in the Marine Corps, the basis of that came from Triz. I didn't know it when I was a kid. I was like, oh, I'm a part of a machine. I've got to play my role. I didn't understand. I wanted to play. You know, I was like, whatever, Triz. But I really came to understand what he was talking about. He always wanted us to be the best teammates we could be. And I tell you, if we ever got selfish in our comments or in our opinions on what we wanted to do, he would jump right on you. And I always remember that, and I always appreciate that about Triz because he really taught me how a team is supposed to function. Now, that being said, you can imagine what kind of player is Triz's favorite player. Triz loved the guys that would come in, bust their tail, never complain, do everything they were asked to do to help the team, be a great teammate, be a great ambassador for the team, and basically just be a great person. And so I'm going to call him up. I had told you I'm going to do this in reverse order because I got to talk about this guy a little bit because I've been coaching him since 7th grade. So come on up, Jewel. I first ran into Alex Jewel in 7th grade. I was coaching football over at Central, and I kind of feel like Jewel was like this size right now, and I was like, holy cow, this kid's in 7th grade? This is awesome. Really good left tackle for us. Kind of, you know, obviously built a relationship with Jewel, and I could tell even then, Jewel has had a maturity about him that obviously 7th graders didn't have. But, you know, and he's carried that on to today. The reason I want to talk, guys, is that this guy right here is the perfect example of what it takes and what it took for you as a team to get to the point you did this season and can help you get further in the future. 2 years ago, I was the new coach. Kraus, I appreciate it, man. I just kind of, you know, usually head coaches go around and ask people if they want to help coach. I just go, hey, Kraus, can I coach with you? He's like, sure, all right. You know, it was kind of cool. He really didn't, you know, I hadn't really worked with them in over a decade, but he was more than willing to help me or let me come on, and I appreciate that. But I kind of had to earn my keep. Well, I knew what this guy was all about. When I saw him playing on JV, I would sit there and kind of bite my lip, and I was a new guy, but I really felt there was more in him than he was getting his last minute or whatever and blowout games on JV. I can tell you what, he could fill a stat sheet in 1 minute though. Dude would get like 4 rebounds, he'd score 4 points, he'd just camp under the rim and nobody could stop him. So I thought, you know, Alex Jewel is a guy who wants this, and I think he's going to work his guts out to get to the level that he wants to get to. So I called up Jewel and we started talking. That was March of, that's 2013 or March 2013. And like Kraus said, we started working, and a week later, Jewel pulled his groin. He was out a week, but you know what? He came right back to it. And when I'm saying working, I'm not talking about, hey, don't worry guys, you're only going to be lifting for 45 minutes and then you can go do whatever you want. Jewel came up to me sometime right before the summer started and said, hey, our tennis coach, how many hours? Like 4 hours. Our tennis coach wants us to work 4 hours a day, but I can work 4 hours in tennis and then come work 2 hours with you. So there's 6 hours. And by the way, Jewel is running to practice and running home. So essentially, 7 to 8 hours of conditioning and working during the summer, right? That's not that 45 minutes of work. Jewel, when we say Jewel worked his tail off, it's not a joke. He worked his tail off. And like Kraus said, a lot of the, when you're maturing a little bit and you're figuring out, you're learning some new skills, and you really want the opportunity to show what you can do. Well, that took a while for Jewel. Jewel kept working, and it was frustrating, wasn't it? It was frustrating. Junior year was frustrating. There was a couple times in practice though where he dominated our post.
He was getting marked for us.
Yeah, he was marked for it.
Couldn't stop Jewel, so he gave us a lot of confidence. Couldn't stop marking.
Yep, absolutely. So, that was his junior year, and now move on to his senior year. And like Kraus said, we really didn't know who was going to play where. I told Jewel the other day, and you all saw the season, and Kraus explained it, so I'm not going to talk too much about it. I told Jewel the other day, and he kind of makes jokes about it, but I truly believe Jewel worked that hard for those 2 moments that he had at the end of his senior year, where he shifted the momentum in the district title game. Big offensive rebounds, 2 big assists, huge plays that push the gap out a little bit further and allows us to close the deal. And then, by the way, that kid that Jewel's D'ing up against at Traverse City West, most of y'all know this, he's got scholarship offers to play football for Ohio State, to Michigan State, to Michigan, he's got some SEC, Angelo, you probably know, SEC schools. That is a talented individual. Even if he doesn't go play basketball, you could see the skill that big man had. And Jewel, I tell you what, that guy was bad because he couldn't get through Jewel. He was bothering him, and that guy fouled out. A lot of it out of frustration because of what Jewel did to him. It was a frustrating time for him when he was trying to figure out his role, wanting to play more. But Jewel, the mature guy that he was, just settled in and said, all right, I'm going to make my senior year a memorable one. And I would say that you did. And you have those 2 moments to carry with you the rest of your life, and that's what you work for. So, Jewel, I think that just about sums it up. Triz would have loved you. He would have loved you, and that's why you earned the Triz Award. Now, what Triz used to make us read this poem all the time. First year when it was really an emotional time. First year we did this, I remember. How's the reading voice? All right. First year we did this, it was a very emotional time, obviously, and I got the Triz Award. Kraus started it, and I finished it. Most of you have heard this poem before, but it truly is a poem that Triz lived by, and he wanted us to live by. So the tradition here at Midland High is if you win the Triz Award, you have to read Rudyard Kipling's If.
And there's a sign above the doorway in the gym. You notice that has 2 lines from this poem.
Yep.
I don't even know it.
Yep.
You'll see it in our gym.
That's true.
If you make a triumph and disaster, you'll read it.
If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you. If you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too. If you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied about, don't deal in lies. Or being hated, don't give way to hating. and yet don't look too good nor talk too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster, and treat those two impostors just the same. If you can bear the heart to hear the truth you've spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you give your life to broken, and stop and build them up with worn-out tools. Sorry. If you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it on one turn of pitch and toss, and lose and start again at your beginnings and never breathe a word about your loss. If you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve turn long after they are gone, and so hold on when there's nothing in you except the will which says to them, hold on. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings, nor lose the common touch. If neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you, but none too much. If you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it, and which is more, you'll be a man, my son.